webinar. So my name is Pragati Verma. I will be moderating this session. Today, this webinar is brought to you by Global Value Web and Agram Technologies. Global Value Web helps organization to drive operational excellence, drive digital transformation and regulatory compliance across the industry, including life science and healthcare. Whereas Agram Technology is a leading provider for laboratory informatics solution, helping laboratories worldwide improving efficiency and data integrity and efficient scientific productivity through the advanced ELN and LIMS platform. I like to welcome our speakers, where we are having Theripriya from Agaram Technologies, and we have Anu from GVW. So I love to introduce Anu. She is a techno-commercial lead from Global Value Web. Anu is a seasoned professional for 15 years of experience in research, educations, lab operation, quality management, and she have successfully led several projects aimed digitalization of library, enhancing efficiency and accuracy in research process. Whereas Theripriya is the marketing lead of Agram Technology. Theripriya holds a good uh, strategy and outreach of LIMS, ELN, and lab digitalization solution. She has high impact for the campaign boost product visibility and support laboratory, moving from paper based process digital flow. I like to welcome Theripriya, and I like to hand over this webinar to her, and from here she can lead it. Welcome, Theripriya. Thank you.
Thanks, Prakriti. Thank you for the introductions. Thanks everyone for taking a time to join with the session, Streamlining Research Workflow. Before moving into the session, I just want to have a quick agenda for next 30 minutes. First, we will start with evaluation of electronic lab notebook, and following with that, we will discuss about what are the real challenges that lab facing today and how ELN helps in moving from their traditional and traditional lab work notebook to digital transformations. Following with that, we have some interesting cross-industry client stories by seeing that how ELN has transformed their digital transformation process. And also we have 10 minutes open discussion to share whatever the questions you have. You please feel free to add your questions in the chat box. So we likely to address at the end. Uh, so before now, let's move to the session. Okay. So the first thing we are going to see is the evaluation of lab documentations. So the adaptation of electronic lab notebook is not just happened overnight. These adaptations have some means have changed over the times. The people have moved from some paper to electronic lab notebook. So this adaptation, before we jump into what the challenges electronic lab notebook solving, let's just have some quick setback of how this adaptation happened. So first people started using paper to record all their results, observations, and to write their own thoughts or even to draw sketches. People means scientists or researchers use this paper traditional notebook. So though it is easy, people feels still they have some clear limitations. So whenever the in a lab we have come across many experiments. So the maintaining of the data within the paper became more complex. Even though they try to stable it and group it together in a racks or shells, so it becomes stop working once the number of experiment become large. So if you are even trying to find old experiment, it still feels like finding a needle in some of the mountains of records. So, in some years, the working of with paper systems stopped, and the challenges they faced is increased. So, in order to make that fit, the people started to move into some basic digital tools. So, basic digital tools like Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, or even some some drive tools to store all their experimental related data. So though they feel this basic digital tools fixed all the challenges that their paper have given, but there's still some problems are exited. So like using the basic digital tools, they feels like there is no version controls. Even the approvals for the experiment are happen outside the system. So again, they want to take the printout and they want to store it in some of the places to for the collaborations or for future reference. So even the approvals happen outside the systems, and there is a no clear audits of who done what, and if there is any unwanted changes or missing of data means there is a no traceability for that data behind that missing of data. So in order to fix all these challenges, this is the place where digital record keeping comes in. That is, the lab started using electronic lab notebook, which brings experiment, their results, and their related data in one central places. So it makes searching very easy, and it supports faster collaborations, and also even they can share all their data related to the experiment across the department, no matter where they are in. So this is the place where electronic lab notebook becomes an universal tool from university to and industry labs. So ELN makes research more easier. They don't want to change the experiment how they are doing. They want to carry all the experiment in one secured place. Okay, now let's see what are the challenges that lab facing today is. So, okay, the first main challenge that lab facing today is disconnected systems. So, if you, no matter if you are a researcher or analyst, or if you are even a person just starting your research journey in a research journey, so you want to carry some experiments. If you sometimes you want to write your experiment details in paper, and you want to maintain that inventory used for that experiment in Excel sheet, and you want to get approval to your managers or the person who is next role. You want to share them with their mail, and once if anyone asks for the full details of experiment, you want to go and search in multiple places. So this is the first challenges that lab facing today, and this fragmented data system leads to one of the main biggest challenges doing the experiment again. So even though we all have even though we have all the details in our hand, but when we require for the old past experiments, we will want to spend hours to find the old experiment. In order to avoid that, people started using doing that experiment again. So the another next challenge that people facing today is the compliance and version controls. So the compliance and version controls means if suppose in lab I started the experiment and I have XOP3 version is approved, but by accidentally the team of from my lab started using SOP2 to execute that experiment. But according to the science that we got the result, and we can move it to the next step. But when it comes to audit, it's non-compliant because there is the approved version of SOP is not carried. When it is questioned, there is a no details of showing who edited it and why it's not it's in the correct workflows. So people stuck in that point. So it becomes complex while in audit. And the next main challenges that lab facing today is collaborations. Even though I have all the details of our experiment, but it's not shared with right time with right people means there is a no point of doing this data doing with the data. And the fifth main challenges that lab facing today is no connectivity between the instrument. Still now people are using a manual method to record, to take the data from the instrument and storing it in their some Excels, and sharing with mails, or sharing in some drive folders for future purpose. So these are the five main challenges that still lab facing when you are partially using paper and some other basic digital tools. So in order to fix that, you can see in the right side, this is the place where electronic laboratory notebook comes in, and you can see and you can see how it's how this happen easily with electronic logbook. So with this electronic notebook, you don't want to think about your I mean deletion of data or unwanted changes happened within the your paper systems. So using electronic lab, you can prevent your unauthorized access, and everything is organized and it is maintained in a structured way. So yeah, in paper, if you paper, if you carry it with uh, some experiment that if someone left the lab, so again you want to find of handling the data to some people who joined currently, so that and all you don't need to spend a lot of times. So with if you are in this structured ELN electronic notebook, no need of searching data when and continuously. In within one search you can find all the data, and the other new team can easily start over carrying that experiment. So also you can decide within the electronic lab notebook, like who can edit and who can approve it and who can view it. So using that controlled features, team can work together easily. So with this electronic notebook, every changes are tracked. So who fully with this fully traceable, so no data cannot be deleted or changed after approvals. So, and the next fifth challenge which seen is instrument data capture, manually doing that. So, with this electronic logbook, you can effortlessly integrate any type of instrument or external system you're having. If I'm having in my lab, I have a lab other lab information software. Sometimes I have ERP and some. CRM to maintain. You can easily integrate with this electronic lab notebook. If I have, if any QZ or any research informed, we have multiple of instruments. So with that instrument, I want to take my data and I want to put it in my experiment. So you can easily integrate with this. So this is the part where electronic lab notebook plays a major role without having some manual errors. So So, okay, before jumping into the next session, I thought of knowing the curious about what current system you guys are having in your lab. So you can see some poll questions in our chat box. We have put for 30 seconds. You just select the option that reflects what your lab is at the moment, like whether you are doing some manual documentations or doing some carrying with some shared folders to record all your printed experimental details, or you have some dedicated document in software like LIMS or electronic lab notebook, or still now you are in the process and you don't have structured any system yet. Please feel free to select any one option so that we can see how we can fix all this in the upcoming sessions. We have another 10 seconds to close this poll. Okay, I can see mixed of response. Okay, now closing the response, but by seeing the response, I can see that still we have still some lab no structured system is developed. But I'm happy to see that we all, I mean, some of the labs are having some dedicated documenting systems. That good to see, and and. And we can see some of them are still using some shared folders and internal drives to carry out our maintaining your data. But but with this response, I can tell you that by end of the sessions, you can by end of the session, after seeing our some real customers, clients to stories, you can clearly know how your current system can be structured in a digital electronic lab notebook. And also, I just want to have some quick heads up on here. We also have uh, some uh, some part to it, explore how this electronic lab notebook can be used in your lab environment. So stay tuned to explore it at the end. Yes, thanks Prakti for your support to showing this poll. Yes, now let's continue the session. Okay. Okay. The next thing which we are going to see is the typical research workflow with electronic lab notebook. Yes. Now, whether if you are an academic or pharma or any diagnostic or any regulatory environment, or you are just in any research environment, the workflow which carried within the lab is the same life cycles. You design some method and you will execute that experiment and you start recording that data and you will share that data with your reviewer, and once it's approved you will you will share for other team members, or you will have it as some central repository to for past reference. So same thing which will carried inside the electronic lab notebook. So with this flow, you just want to have just want to do two things. That is, you want to design the template, and you just want once you design the template, you can get, or you can send directly to your reviewer or approval, and you can execute the system. So to design the template within the electronic lab notebook, we have some built-in editors, built-in editors that is very similar to your daily lab use of some spreadsheet type. It is very easy to create the template whatever you like to have. And also using that template, you can drag and drop, and you can add whatever the fields. If I want in my lab, I just want to have maintaining what are the samples it's entering in the lab, I just want to maintain, means you just want to create the sample name field, and your who want to approve it, and who want to to whom which lab I want to move it, such field you can drag and drop use. And also the one of the best benefit we have that we having is, you can import whatever the existing file you having, so you can just import it and you can use it. So once this template is designed, you can once it is sent, you can directly send to for approvals. So after approving, you can if you are if you are in the if you are you, this template is received from QC end, then you want to send for your manager for the approvals. So once every this process happened, you will next evening your analyst will start to open the template, and he will or she will execute that experiment and record the data, and it's stored in some repository for the next future purpose. So this is the typical research workflow that happens within electronic lab notebook. And now I like to hand over this session to my colleague Anu, who will show you how method execution is happening within the electronic lab notebook, and also will share how some interesting cross industries real case studies. Over to you, Anu.
Thank you, Terpriya. Let me share my screen. I hope my screen is up.
Yeah.
Okay, can you take presentation mode? So being a scientist myself and also sitting in the QC shoes, now that I'm presenting this webinar, this already looks like an evolution in itself, coming out of the paper and promoting a webinar, which is for the electronic lab notebook. So let's see how method execution is made seamless. So like my colleague described the events and the process flow, that is how a typical research flow is running in the lab. That is, you plan and design, then you execute, and then you have your documentation in place, you have your analysis of your experiments, and then comes the review and submission part. So for all of these, let us see how the ELN is going to support in each of these processes. So first thing, design and development of your experiment, planning and design. So you need digital SOPs and you need templates. So these templates have to be standardized and reusable. For example, let's consider there is a manufacturing facility which is placed out of India. and there is another manufacturing facility in the EU region, and both of them are doing the similar experimentation on a similar kind of a product for a portfolio. So let's see that they have to share these common insights, and they have to run the experiment in parallel. So we have something called as a templates that can be reusable and shareable. They are shared and they can be leveraged across the institutes or across departments or across geographies. So these are the templates that come with ease to handle. For example, I'm a scientist and I want the templates readily usable. It has to be user friendly because I'm seeing a protocol, I'm seeing an experiment. I need to make notes because this is the evolution of paper based, right? When we have a paper in hand, it's so easy for us to make notes, to scribble it, to have the number one, number two, step number one, two, three, and so on. So these are the ease of experiments that the lab personnel would want and love in their template. So this is exactly what the Logilab ELN also delivers, the user-friendly templates. Let's see an example of a template over here. So this is a clone screening and selection example. So you see that the indexes are neatly labeled out where you have the reagent IDs, your names of the reagent, the description, the quantity, everything is entered. And this is a Excel sheet that comes in front of you. So you can design your own template with the help of the SOPs and the digital SOPs that are in front of you, or the pharmacopoeia, be it any sector that you're working for. Then comes the equipments and the barcodes. You can just scan the barcode, the entire detail falls into your system. It's captured in the system. Okay, so now let's see the next thing. So for conducting an experiment, now you're into the zone of conducting your experiment. What do you need for conducting the experiment? You need documentation, you need your reagents and instruments to be into the system. So when the procurement team is receiving these instruments and reagents, you have all the barcode, that is the details that is captured, and these fall into a database. So this complete data has to be now transcribed into your electronic lab notebook, neatly falling into the metadata, into different divisions. For example, if I'm talking about a reagent, it will have different descriptions, like the reagent description in itself. What is the safety protocol for this reagent? What is the expiration date of this reagent? Where has it to be kept? What is the storage condition for this reagent, etc. Then comes the instrument modules. Same, you can have parent instruments and child instruments. What I mean by that is, for example, a parent instrument could be an HPLC unit in itself, and a child instrument could be the columns that are part of the main instrument. So all of these instruments again come with their instrument details, where is it supposed to be placed. Then, for example, what is the maintenance of the instrument? How is it scheduled? What is the scheduler? What is the calibration status of this instrument? So all of this is neatly configured into the electronic lab notebooks for ease of use. Now let us see the integration part. Now integration is extremely important because your ELN is going to talk to different systems. Okay, so once the ELN is going to talk to your instruments, say be it type A instrument or type B or type C instruments. For example, scientist is wanting to weigh a particular capsule 3 times. Okay, so it starts with tearing, weight, calibration of the instrument, that is the weighing balance, and then comes the actual weighing, that is weight 1, weight 2, weight 3, and average of the weight. So the entire thing is in a setup where the integration has happened between the ELN and your weighing balance. So once the scientist is going to carry on the experiment, and the ELN is synced or is speaking to the system, the all the parameters, all the functions over here, the results are directly entered into the ELN. So you do not have to hunt for a pen, paper, and notebook to go and note down certain things and then go to your system, type it out, and then there is a erroneous report. Nothing of that sort is possible with the ELN adoption. Let us see real-time capture. Now, this particular statement is extremely crucial because it springs up from one of the terms called ALCOA++. I think most of you would have heard it. For those who do not, ALCOA stands for attributable, legible, contemporaneous, original, accurate. And we also have ALCOA++, which is like it has to be time-bound, it has to be audit stamped, it has to be compliant, and so on. So the plus plus can mean various things. So real-time capture comes from the point contemporaneous. It has to be a real-time capture. So when there is a syncing between your ELN and your weighing balance or any other instrument for that matter, it's a real-time capture. All the other notes or comment section that the scientists or the lab analysts are going to do it in real time, promoting that instrument or attaching certain things to the instrument comes as a audit stamped trail. Then comes the controlled environment. So what do we mean by controlled environment? ELN, because of the digitization, everything is electronic. So you have your SOPs, you have your templates, everything is in the electronic format. So when you're performing your experiment and you wish to use a weighing balance, you have multiple weighing balances in the unit in your department. Which weighing balance is calibrated? Which weighing balance is available for use and can be used for this experiment? Only those will pop up in your dropdown. So these are the backend configurations that our team does for the scientist, knowing all the brainstorming and analysis is done. So you have controlled environment. You can select only those which are calibrated. You can only use the approved reagents. You can only use the version controlled copies. Like for example, there is a document that has gone for an versioning and it is available in version 5, but the system of the scientists are not aware of it and they're using a version 4. This cannot happen because the dropdown will only say that this particular SOP is version 5, the latest one that is coming out. So this is your controlled environment. Then, of course, the guided execution. Now, guided execution, as I said, there are steps and procedures for every experiment. You have step 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So if you want to move to step 5, you should have completed step 4. And there has to be a yes or no statement or a note section that the scientist has to adhere or abide by and give it to the QA for review. So these are the things that takes you through the guided execution statements. So now let us look at where are the digital lab notebooks making waves. So we are all aware that yes, digital tools or digital lab notebooks have already made waves in the pharma industry, in the life sciences, but it is also increasing important to see that the industries like dairy, food and beverages, the academics institutes and the universities, the chemical manufacturing units, the CDMOs, that is a contract development manufacturing organization, the CDRs, and the life sciences and pharmaceuticals are equally adopting the ELN way better than what it was a few years back. So this is all because of the compliance, because of the regulations, and because of the safety protocols that are set. Let us now look at some interesting case studies where we have adopted these ELN, where the institutes or the contract research organizations or the institutes have adopted ELN and what benefit they have achieved with the adoption. So this is a CRO, clinical research organization, and the challenges that the CRO had is they had fragmented labs, it was disconnected systems. They had challenges in compliance as well, and they were not working collaboratively. It was not a collaborative research ecosystem. They were working in a hybrid mode. They had a lot of paper-based work that was still going on, and all the data was sitting in siloed functions. So this is the client. It's an independent CRO out of the UK. So the solution implemented was the ELN, Deutsche Lab ELN from Agaram. So standardized data capture was set up across all the labs. So now what I mean by standardized is this is one single repository and a single source of truth. So what we say as single source of truth is one authoritative data set that comes up. Now this data set can be available across geographies, across departments, and every person who is using that particular ELN can share and find the data easily. So implemented a site and project level segregation within the ELN, enabling independent lab operations on the same platform. So what is the value proposition out of this? An optimized lab data management with reproducibility and traceability. Now, this is a very important function when I talk about reproducibility and so for example, let's take a quick example. There is a scientist who is recording certain details in milliliters. Okay, so 1,000 milliliters is equal to 1 liter. Yes, we all know that. But if the recordings are going to be taken in milliliters, then there is a harmonized format that is going to be followed. So you cannot deviate from that. You cannot say 1 liter. You have to write 1,000 milliliters. You have to follow the same harmonized structure. And then units, for example, if a pharmacopoeia is saying that you have to put 3 decimals after the decimal place, that is what the ELN will prompt the user to do. It will say that you haven't recorded your reading right. It is not 7.40, it is 7.4000, for example, as per the pharmacopoeia. So these are the reproducible result and something that is going to deflect from your variability. So if we do not give access to these, then the variability is lost with the scientists. Improved cross-disciplinary project coordination and secure collaboration with the stakeholders. Now let's see what are the challenges they faced and how they came out of the challenges when the ELN adoption was successful. So it was a paper-based system, Excel sheets and standalone tools, and the data capture was now uh, efficient because of the unified fully digital ELN platform that was there, and disjointed systems again with compliance. If you see, so your ELNs have to be compliant to all the systems, for example, for the FDA, for the MHRA, for the EU regions, the EMA, and they are Alcoa++ ready. This is manual and time consuming for the label printing, whereas with the ELN, you have a centralized IoT based workflow. IoT stands for Internet of Things, that is, two things connect to each other or talk to each other. So this is like, for example, the ELN speaks to the label printer. But before we move to the next case study, there is a quick poll that is coming your way. So this poll addresses the question, what would help you most in your routine lab work? Please take time for the poll question. Thank you for your poll responses. We'll see it in the Q&A section. So I'm moving forward with the second case study over here. And this is for an biologics laboratory for the testing through ELN implementation in a UK MHRA laboratory. So the client is a biologic testing laboratory operating under the UK MHRA. So the solution implemented is our ELN. So let's understand the complexities that were there with this client. So first is they needed a centralized repository, again, because the data is residing in silos. They wanted a single platform to securely capture the assay data, calculations, results with full traceability. Now, the complexity arrives when we talk about biologics or we talk about the calculations becoming complex. So for example, let us see, this is a biologics testing laboratory. So you will have a lot of dose curves and growth curves in your results. So all of these can be uploaded into your ELN. The ELN will capture these outputs as PDF files, extract the information from the table, perform the calculations, for example, the potency or the yield of the monoclonal antibody, etc., from the entire PDF that was served to it. And then the ELN is coming out with the results with full traceability. So this is the possibility that can happen with an ELN. So you do not have to literally scan for documents, attach them with binders and attach to a particular instrument. Everything is uploaded and attached in the lab notebook digital format. So it maintained a complete sample life tracking across assays, results, and regulatory records. So this was a controlled review and approval and audit-ready documentation. So this is extremely important for a QA team as well when there is an audit inspection and you're waiting for your reports. You just have to log into your ELN system and get your documentation for that particular experiment right away. So the value proposition that they achieved is improved data integrity and compliance with all the norms, faster scientific and QA review cycles, and improved consistency across the biologics characterization. So again, the same part what we see in the left is the gaps and challenges that they were facing. And with a unified, fully digital ELN, they were able to have a standardized, controlled workflow management. Let us see this interesting case study. So this is an academic research ELN. So there would be different challenges that the academic institutes are facing. So for this example, this is a university research center, and the challenges they were facing is extremely important in the base of there were a lot of paper notebooks, spreadsheets, and shared drives, and they had limited experiment traceability, and the knowledge is lost when the students are leaving the institute. Same with researchers, when the researcher leaves, you carry your knowledge with you. So how is the data storage going to be enabled over here? So with the ELN platform, We facilitated real-time uh, principal investigation and supervisor review feedback and approvals within the ELN. So with an experiment comes all the notes and all the justification as to why this particular experiment was performed thrice or why was this particular step omitted. Every reason and every question is right there in front of you in the particular note section. So allowed secure cross-departmental and inter-university collaboration with the same ELN environment. So let's move to another case study. This is an API manufacturer success with sample and documentation management. It's a global API manufacturer, FDA, EMA, and PMDA approved. Solution implemented is a SaaS-based ELN solution. So SaaS refers to software as a service. So ELN deployment can be in different ways. It could be in-house as well. It can be cloud-based. So for this particular API manufacturer, it was a cloud-based subscription model. And the streamlined solution for automating sample management and significant traceability was achieved for the institute. Real-time multi-site collaboration was seen as a value proposition, and you have digital documentation in place. So they were facing challenges because it was 100% paper-based before, and now it has gone digital completely. They had 80% transcription errors. Now it is reduced to less than 10%. And during their audit findings, they had 5 to 7 observations, and now it's nil, zero observations after the ELN deployment. Okay, so now that the case studies are over, let's quickly run through an operational control into real savings in the pathology labs with ELN. So what happens is when there is a brainstorming session or when we discuss with the clients on the business outcomes of your ELN, that is, what is the return on investment that you expect from a particular ELN deployment. So what comes as an answer is there is a lot of wastage in the reagent management or the consumables management and tracking. This is not efficient because there is a lot of wastage, and of course, the savings are going off the drain. So this comes up with baseline inefficiency. For example, it could be over ordering, it could be expiration of the lots, it could be poor tracking, there is no traceability, and majorly the miscommunication between different departments. So what you see on the left hand side is a flow, how the ELN is flagging a low stock, and you can see the entire, I will not read it through, but then you see that the reagent is marked available in ELN. It has gone through different steps, approval steps, sent to the ERP system. The vendor is ordering the particular reagent in the ERP, delivering of the reagent is happening, and an audit trail is maintained across steps. So same thing happens with calibration, same thing happens with consumable tracking. So because of this digitized inventory management, the reduction that you see is around 20 to 30%, depending on the lab size and complexity, alone with ELN adoption itself. So ELN monitors inventory usage in real time. You can replenish faster replenishment and lower cost and uninterrupted workflows. It avoids the emergency procurement cost, reduces manual inventory oversight, and prevents the experiment delays. So with this, the case studies are over. Let's just have a quick recap on what are the benefits or advantages of our ELN. So you have extensive collaboration, innovation support. The scientists get more time to work in their labs rather than doing the calculations or sitting and scanning through pages and knowing attachments and all these things. Resource and inventory control, you have real-time tracking, as I just mentioned before. You have knowledge retention, so business advantages, the knowledge is not lost, and you can train your users effectively with your ELN. Reproducibility, you can reuse your experiment and leverage those templates across just with a little bit of customization. It's audit and compliant, scalable across multi-client and multi-site support. And definitely for a business benefit, it is coming to the cost savings, so optimized resource utilization and measurable ROI. So now let us see what are the statistics that we see as the benefits of ELN. Handing it over to Theripriya again. Thank you.
Thanks. It's really interesting to see some real world industry clients use case, and it's showing that how from industries to universities are using electronic lab notebook as a universal tool. And by seeing this real case, we can feel that lab team or scientists, they don't need to think about their complaints separately. Then they don't want to track how inventory manually, or so how spending 2 to 3 months for audit documentations, or maintaining some instrument data manually, or some traceabilities of data. So this all things can be handled within the electronic lab notebook, and just they can only focus on experiments. So with this, I just want to have some what are the after deployment of electronic lab notebook in a real world, how this helps electronic lab to achieve like 100% digital traceability, that is from experiment to approvals, on even the instrument traceabilities are available, easy to see that what are the happen in within the systems. And within that, they can also find 20 to 20 percentage reductions in errors, that is using the structured template, some manual errors or transcription errors or some unwanted changes can be prevented. And they also can achieve like 100% ready for audit readiness, and 30 to 40% of faster documentations. And typically lab can save 20 to 30 percentage for inventories, or for a wastage of some reagents, for maintaining of that within their lab. So this is some measurable impact that happened after implementing this electronic lab notebook in this real environment. And so far we have seen some real cases and what how ELN has adopted to lab nowadays. But now it's a time to see how to select electronic lab notebook to your labs. So before you're choosing the right electronic lab notebook, first you want to consider the four things. So the first thing you want to see is whether this is a user for scientists or QA team, or for manufacturing, or if you are in the research group, whether it's used by students. This thing you want to first consider. And the second thing you want to find is whether the software is easy for use. So it feels like natural or similar like the our existing spreadsheet type system, or whether it's if because if it's complex, the people will feel very hard to adapt it, and it will be take long time to implement electronic lab notebook within your lab. So this is the second thing you want to find when you are choosing the electronic lab notebook. And the third thing you want to find is one of the biggest thing is integrations. So this is the reason integration is more important for lab to check before choosing the electronic lab, because it will eliminate most of your manual data entries. So when if you're finding any electronic lab notebook, you first should check whether it's supporting your existing system, and also your existing instrument like HPLC or balance or cell counters later instruments. So by checking this all, you can remove all your manual maintaining of instrument data, and you can easily adopt to the ELN fast. And the fourth main thing is the scalability. So whenever you're finding a good electronic lab notebook, you want to check whether it's scalable whenever our lab team grows. So if you are choosing this electronic lab notebook when you have a team member of 2 peoples, so after the 5 months you have grown into some 25 plus peoples. So at the time you have some experiments of counting like 80 to 100 plus experiment, and you are maintaining some large number of data. So even though that time itself same electronic lab node is performing well without losing any performance or any control, it's main thing to consider. So these are the things you want to find before choosing the electronic lab book. And once you find this all things are checklisted, so you can try for, before you are moving for full deployment, you can try for some pilot test, and you can get the feedback of your bench scientist of how this interface is this and how it's working in your real environment. And you can move into a electronic lab notebook. And with this we are going to close this sessions. And next is we have an opening for question sessions. Let me check in the chat box whether we have any questions.
Uh, Teripriya, it's there. I have added in PPT. You can take it from there.
Okay, okay, fine.
Yeah. There was one question, so I have added in the PPT itself.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is an interesting question from Shrikant. So in some of the tests, we use the parallel execution of step. How can we manage its execution if after completion of one step to another? Exactly. So this is one of the challenges that every scientist also faces. So in the ELN, we have a deployment called as parallel steps that is right there in the same language, what we see parallel execution of step. So this is with a logic, and we can also have a logic conditioning with the ELN systems. For example, if you want a sequential execution or you want a parallel execution, that also works. And ELN can enforce dependencies and also come out of it. For example, if you're having a conditional logic, like if then rules, like step 3 only starts if the step 2 is going to pass. So these are also conditional logics that are present in the ELN. Thank you for your question.
Thanks, Anu. Thanks for the questions. And for the first poll question, we got the response of majority is uh, 30% of Excel using Excels and wait, let me share my screen. This is the response we got from first poll response. That is, 38% of people are using manual documentations. It's quite not surprising. Because for that, I just want to tell you that if you are planning to move your data from paper to some digital environment today without any large investment, I can tell you one thing that we have some free version. You can try that free electronic lab notebook free versions. It is designed for user friendly and it can apply for in the scientific today's environment. So if you're planning to see how this real experiment is apply in a digital electronic lab notebook, you can try using this free versions. It is fully versioned and release controls. It also supports collaborations and compliance part. If you're really interested to see how this works in your lab, you just put ELN in chat box. We will while sharing your